Good evening. Today is June 1st, and it is approximately 6:10 in the evening. This is a meeting of the Community and Economic Development Committee. I am Lynn Smee, the chair of the committee, and also here is Mr. Bill Rozelle, who is on the committee. Mr. Twiss is absent. We have several items tonight, but the first item involves recommendations from the Troy Planning Commission regarding the final plat approval of Fox Harbor Subdivision Section 8 and dedication of right-of-way. Mr. Patrick, do you have anything? Mr. Titterington, sorry.
I've been called worse. Thank you, Madam Chair. We are asking for council approval of the final plat of Fox Harbor Section 8, dedication of the right-of-way. This was unanimously recommended by the Troy Planning Commission. It is, as I mentioned, it's the 8th section. It's 10.8 acres, 20 building lots. Right away to be dedicated is Fox Harbor, a portion of Fox Harbor Drive. It is R4 single-family residential zoning, and it does comply with all the preliminary and previous approvals. It is not, we are not asking for emergency legislation.
All right, and just to clarify, this is west of the King's Chapel neighborhood, south of West Main Street. That's the area we're talking about. I do not have any further questions. Mr. Rozelle?
Do not.
Any other members of council have questions?
Okay.
Mr. Phillips?
Mr. Titterington, is there a potential that we have any punch list items left over, or is this voting in this plat, all of the items on any small items that we have had outstanding are completed?
Yeah, we typically don't bring these things to you until we're ready to really accept them. Okay. And our engineering techs are in constant contact with the developers to correct any issues, hopefully as they go along, but certainly at the end.
Gotcha. Thank you. All I have.
Any other council members or staff or anyone else with the questions? If not,
Move forward.
it's unanimous to move forward on this item. Our second item is acceptance of utility easements along Archer Drive. Mr. Titterington.
Thank you, Madam Chair. WACO Warehouse on Archer Drive is doing a replat of their property, looking at some additional development along Archer Drive. The replat is an administrative item that the city engineer can approve. However, it was discovered during the process that there are a couple of areas where water and sewer mains go through the property, and there are no utility easements. And so we had WACO Warehouse draw up those easements, and only council can accept those easements. And so we are asking that you do that to protect the mains. We are, again, not asking for emergency legislation.
Any further questions? Anybody on council? Anyone with any further questions? Mr. Rozelle?
Move forward, please.
It's unanimous to move forward on that item. Our third item is a report on the recommendation of the Planning Commission on the revised final record plan of the Halifax Villas planned development. And this has to do with their clubhouse, I believe.
It is with their clubhouse. We are asking for council to approve the final record plan. Did add a section, or I guess a phase 3, is that what we call it? That does address the clubhouse and its relocation north of Finsbury, of Nottingham Drive. The Planning Commission did approve it unanimously to recommend to council for approval at their May 26th meeting. Again, we are not asking for emergency legislation.
Is that Nottingham Drive off of Finsbury an entrance to the clubhouse?
It will be.
As well as from the neighborhood?
That's the only one from the public can get in, right?
Correct. I mean, there's a,
I mean, they can come.
there'll be a golf cart.
Yeah,
path
the
they
residents
through,
can
right.
come from the north.
on foot.
Yeah, I have a
Golf
cart, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Any other questions from council members on that item? Any other questions? Ms. Rizzo?
Just a brief one, I don't want to make a stir a bunch of hornets' nests up, but everybody on Finsbury know this is going there, correct?
I can't say everybody.
Well, most of them,
but
the flooding
But
people.
the adjacent neighbors, our understanding is the developer has contacted and talked to them, so they are aware of the project.
I'd move forward then.
And it's unanimous to move forward on that item. Our final item tonight is an annexation from Concord Township for Strayer Farms on Washington Road.
This is an annexation petition that was filed on May 28th. It is Strayer Farms. It is, let's see, 8.14 acres. You have a map in your packet. It is located on the east side of Washington Road. This is an expedited type 2 annexation, so time is always short on these when we receive them. There are 3 pieces of legislation that would need to be passed, dealing with services, the buffering with incompatible uses, and the actual consenting legislation. We are recommending the annexation be approved. We are asking for consideration of emergency legislation so that we can meet the timeframes.
Any other questions? Any questions from council on this? Mr. Schilling?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I had the question, this farm is next to the Washington Reserves of Washington. Has the city been in any discussions about, is this going to be combined with that particular subdivision? Have anybody approached the city about development of this property?
No, they have not.
So we're sort of in the dark right now?
We are, but given this location versus where the Washington Reserves, and looking at their preliminary plan, there is no stub street or any kind of connection between the two that is drawn up in the Reserves subdivision. So we wouldn't anticipate that this would connect directly with the Washington Reserves.
Okay. And what's the city's obligation on the infrastructure out there?
What's the city's obligation on the existing infrastructure?
No,
or
developing
anything
infrastructure like curbs and sidewalks.
we would follow the subdivision regulations as usual.
What are the subdivision regulations?
They're about 2 inches thick, so I'm not sure which one you might want.
The ones determining curbs and sidewalks.
Well, it just depends on what kind of development and drawings are submitted. And since this is only the annexation and we're not aware of what their end plans are with that property, I really can't answer that. It's nothing more than a hypothetical.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this item? And this is requested emergency legislation, so
Move
Mr.
forward
Rizzo?
with emergency, please.
It's unanimous to move forward with emergency. I'm not aware of any other items to come before community and economic development, so we are